on caucus night, my greatest hope is that my poll will actually turn out to be accurate. I've been called the outlier queen because many of my polls I've sat alone with who I said was going to lead or by what margin a particular candidate was going to win. Today I'm going to talk about a few things that have made me the outlier queen. That is, things I do differently, which I think have been a little secret to my success. So the idea of a public opinion poll is to measure the opinion of a small group of people with the idea that you can understand the opinions of a broader group of people. As we sit here awaiting the Iowa caucuses, that broader group of people is our universe. The small group of people, that's our sample. And the idea of polling is that if you draw that sample properly, you can talk to a few hundred people and understand what hundreds of thousands of people might be expected to do in the future. So let's look at the technicalities of how I approach this problem. We start with a sample frame, which is the list of all registered voters through the Iowa Secretary of State's office. And then we begin screening for people who are likely to go to the caucus. So some pollsters decide that they want to only try to make contact with the people who are most likely to go to caucuses. So they might limit their sample frame just to people who are already registered Democrat, because you're going to need to be a registered Democrat on caucus night, but you can show up on caucus night and change that registration. So I think they would be blinded from what might be happening with people who are registered as no party or independent in Iowa, and even people who are registered as Republicans who decide they want to make a change in how they're going to express their political voice. I don't predetermine who is a potential likely caucus goer based on how they are currently registered today. Number two, some use a looser screen, allowing more people to count as a likely caucus goer. They might ask if you're very likely or somewhat likely, and they'll take the somewhat likely. We would think that that's a little imprecise, that if you're somewhat likely, you might also be somewhat unlikely at the same time. So we want people to give a stronger statement of their intent to go to caucus. And our screening question is, will you definitely attend, probably attend, might or might not attend, or probably not attend? We only take the definites and the probables. If you say you might go, we're done with you. In our last poll, we had communication, actual conversation with over 3,000 Iowa voters in order to pull from that 701 who told us they were definitely or probably going to caucus. Number three, some pollsters look backward. I want my polls to look forward. Some polling firms like to take a look at what happened in the past and make their current poll reflect those demographics. So if they know something about who showed up by education or by other kinds of variables, they want to adjust or weight their data to look like what has happened before. I have learned that what happened before doesn't necessarily predict the future. I want my data to reveal to me if there's going to be a change in the types of people who show up on caucus night. And number four, some organizations use panels of people who volunteered to be polled again and again. So a panel is a group of people who have agreed to be polled from time to time. And they have been recruited by a polling company that wants to weigh in with them, sometimes on non-political, but often also on political topics. And it's a quick way of gathering a lot of data. I don't do panels, and the main reason is that I just have a niggle in my brain that says, people who volunteer to be polled, are they representative of the electorate at large? And I just worry enough about that I, as the investigator, want to decide who's in my sample and who isn't. So that's it. I hope you got a little bit of knowledge about how polls work, how my polls work, and that maybe you had some fun along the way.